hopefully have quite a bit of activity, especially from Karula and all the boys around this area. So we're going to just start with that. And then maybe have a look down towards Twin Dams, Treehouse Dam. Get Scott out there. Really nice guy. Just while he's not in the vehicle yet, let me do a slightly longer introduction. We met him, what is it, Saturday. So 2 days ago, and he's fit into camp straight away. Big guy's charismatic guy, he's willing to give a hand with anything, has a quick laugh, makes decent sandwiches, and loves wildlife. I think most importantly, he's got a real passion for wildlife. He's worked further south for a number of years, been to East Africa, Durban boy originally, so from our sort of southeast coast. And just the kind of guy that I think we'll all have a fantastic time with. And as importantly, I think he will have a fantastic time with all of you. So get him welcome and get him warmed up quickly if you can. And ask him lots of questions later this morning. All right, well, here we are with, I think, yes, we are, with Brian and VM the wildebeest. Just out of interest, subsequently, apart from the wildebeest getting the nickname VM, VM has now got the nickname wildebeest. So this story does keep on growing. VM, can you recognize, is that VM there? I'm just looking at that female. She does have a little bit, just right on the rump, a bit of an indentation there when the light. Oh, guys, we've got 2 females giving birth at the same time here. Look at that. Oh, okay, we're gonna sit just here. Yeah, I'm not even gonna move. Not gonna move. Sorry, we came rolling in. I didn't actually see it to begin with. But the female on the left, you can see the feet already out, as well as the female on the right. So I'm not gonna move any. I mean, I don't want to disturb them any way at all. So we're going to give them some space, and we're just going to sit here. Amazing. So the wildebeest family is growing. Now the other day, VM, I don't know, can you remember exactly how long ago? 5 days ago? About 5 days ago, give or take. We had the 2 births. First the one calf, which subsequently was called V. Slightly into the brush there. We'll just see what they get up to. Amazing. The little wildebeest following along there as well. Yeah, naming of animals is always fun, and fun is an important part of having a safari. I really believe that people should have fun out here. Yes, you should learn things, yes, you should understand things, but it's really important to enjoy it. Now the whole wildebeest group just moving into the thicket there. We're going to just sit back a little bit, see what they get up to. There is a slight clearing in the back there. I know that from past experiences having been in there. There's a little pan. sit a little bit to the one side of them in case they do want to come out into this clearing. Actually, we only noticed that they're actually beginning to give birth once we arrived here. So what I want to do is just go sit more on the side, and then they have the space. If they do want to come back into the open, they don't feel any pressure. I mean, these guys are very used to vehicles. We've seen this herd now virtually every day since they've been here, which is the last couple of weeks. So they are very comfortable with the car, but at the same time we want to make sure we give them enough space. In fact, what I might even do, and this is sort of tying in with what Mike is asking. Hello Mike. Mike's one of the zoomies. Zoomie Mike, as we call him. One of the guys that help keep an eye on the waterhole camera. I want to take a very quick 5-minute drive around, just to really leave those wildebeest alone, that they can start with what they need to start with without us pressuring them. And within the next 4 or 5 minutes, I'm sure they wouldn't have given birth yet. We'll come back. And I'm going to keep just circling back to within a visual distance, if you want, from those wildebeest, just to see if they come back out and to keep an eye on them. And as soon as they're visible again, we'll sit with them. It would be great to see another birth. And I know there was a bit of chat on Twitter about calling one of those wildebeest Scott, perhaps. But who knows, maybe when you're out on the drive with Scott, something else happens that might want to that you might want to keep for Scott. So I keep just thinking of, great Scott! What? I know that's a movie which I can't remember where it's from even, but it's one of those lines that keeps popping out. You'll have a great time with Scott, then. I've got no doubts about. But yeah, so quick circuit around, see if we get any signs of Karula. There's no tracks on this road. We're just on the western side of quarantine. Sorry guys, I think it's my... It's always strange when you're in a different car suddenly, even though they do the same thing. The setup is slightly different, you know, it's like your office or like your home, and it's maybe more a home than an office. Just listening to the game drives on the in my ear here, just listening to what's going on. I'm going to have to talk to them just now and see what they've found so far. There's a bit of news I want to tell you about, but I first want to just clear it exactly what it is. Hey, there's Aina. Guys, now this happened this morning on the way into the office, so to speak. This Aina also came running past. There he goes. I wonder where it's going. I don't know. Guys, might try and follow up on that one. see here's the game drives from Wojtela coming as well, so they're going to give a hand as well. How's it for? Dixon, how's it? Good, how are you? Good, good, good. You see them, PC? Yeah, it's just running in here.
What you got there?
I'm not sure. Maybe Ingwe. Tandiukui.
Karim and west of
Cheetah Katlan.
Cheetah Plain.
Oh, okay. Oh. And then two Madrai were busy starting to get Mampimpanya, but they go in the Slatin.
Morning, yes, how are you?
Alright.
Very good, very good.
Alright.
She's
Ahina that ran in here. Yeah. Luckily you've got one of the best trackers and one of the best guides in the world, so you'll have a fantastic time. Cheers, guys. Alright. Right, we're going to follow up. I see Texan's going that side. Now, I'm a bit curious that that hyena might have been reacting to those wildebeest that were starting to give birth. There's not much of a wind, but if you stop, there's a slight breeze coming sort of southeast, and that would have blown directly towards where we saw that hyena this morning when we came in. Myself and Alex saw the hyena running across the road, and now it's running back again. So who knows, maybe it smelled something going on from the wildebeest, came over, didn't find what it was looking for, and is now going back. Now why it's going back has got me curious, because if it's going back that way, maybe Karula's got another kill in there. I mean, there could be various things that could cause a hyena to sort of jog like that. It's not for exercise. Hyenas are not big on exercise in the morning unless there's food at the end of the line. So we're going to follow up on that. Texan is also looking. I just love the mornings. I've always loved the mornings. It's so yeah, all the stories that could have happened during the night you've got to catch up on, and it's just this whole new excitement for the morning. Yes, it's worked. You see the wildebeest are coming back out, and we will show you better just now, but there you can see them walking back out in the clearing. There's the one female, actually, the one that just walked there. She disappears behind the brush. I could see the feet, that, yeah, you can't see now, but there, that one walking on the left hand side, one of those two is one of them started giving birth. So let's just sneak our way back in and we'll just see what they're doing. Now we know what's going on there, we can approach it with a whole new plan, so to speak. But yeah, guys, mornings are just fantastic because there's, you know, leopards, lions, hyenas, all this activity during the night, and it's just, there's a great sense of joy, if you want. The birds are all calling and the light is beautiful. I love morning light, and also I guess it's cool. It will get hot as the day goes on, but we started at a really great temperature. Tracks here, there's some zebra tracks, hyena tracks, no leopard tracks yet. Again, it doesn't mean the leopard went around. Gorilla would have probably been moving around different parts here. Quick. Have this sort of hazy blue horizon this morning, which you often get when there's so much moisture around. And again, I've never really been one for looking at the weather predictions too much, but I would guess that we've got some rain somewhere in the next couple of days. There's lots of moisture around. It's been really hot, and normally that builds up and culminates in rain. So just show you this. Show you those wildebeest quickly. They are still busy coming out into the open, so for now I'm not going to go closer to them yet. I'm just going to let them settle down a bit, and then we'll move in there, and if all goes well, hopefully see both births. So that's the plan. Let them settle down a little bit, and then go back in there. Let's see if Texan's had any luck. Texan again. Texan again. Sorry, for my volume is down now. Have you got something there? Okay, did you take Gallagher shortcut? Okay, and pull on four. Well, I think for this morning we're going to be pretty much just around this quarantine area, just with obviously the wildebeest, some great impala. Here, let's have a quick look at these impala, and as always, well, there's a few impala, but I thought they're looking at something, but I think they're just looking at the wildebeest that are coming out. As always, I'll be looking for leopard around here as well, so should all be pretty straightforward. A great question there from Dawn. Okay, so I'm just going to move a little bit. Get to the main body of the herd where all the babies are. This time of the morning you can often get the impala or the lambs playing and running and basically exercising their muscles, but effectively doing so by playing. And that can be fantastic fun to see. Dawn, good morning. Great time to ask a question for you. The sun only rose just now. So Dawn's just asking, if the wildebeest was giving birth and the predator came along, would the mother try and chase the predator? Dawn, yes and no, depending on obviously the scenario, which predator, how many, and so forth. But wildebeest have been known on many occasions. I mean, there's been footage of it, and it's been seen where they will actually chase predators off. It depends on how strong or how weak the female is relative to the birth, and obviously what the predator is. For instance, let's say it was quarantine male or Djuma. It's probably possible that the wildebeest will chase them off. They're young male leopard, they're not that experienced at hunting, they're maybe not that confident yet, they don't want to take chances, and they might be chased off relatively easy. Had it been a big leopard like Mvula maybe, he might not be intimidated as easily. So there's a lot of variations in it. It's not impossible. Let's have a look at these guys. Morning. Beautiful little guy. Sleeping a bit late. Other lambs just grooming itself. It's always amazing to me how quickly they learn the important habits of living a wild life. Within minutes from birth they can walk or stand. In fact, they can normally stand and run better than they can stand and walk. There's two reasons for it. One is, at that stage it is important to be able to run. Oh my goodness, that one's hurt its leg. That's a shame, maybe in all the running around. See, the left leg is being favored at the moment. Oh, it doesn't look broken, it looks hurt. Now we hope that that'll recover. Now this will be from all the running around. Keep in mind, these impalas we're looking at, they're varying between 5-6 hours old and 4, 5, 6 days old. When they're not big, they're not old yet, they're tiny little babies, and they are doing lots of running around and exercising and practicing, but in that process they obviously can hurt themselves. But I think this will recover. We'll we'll get back to that one later on. These guys just getting ready. As I was saying just now, the habits are there so early. Grooming, strutting behavior, the different ways of running and showing off to predators that they are fit. All these things you start seeing within hours of birth almost, and certainly within days, and it's always quite amazing to me. You can see the female in the back eating presumably some of the new grass shoots. There's also lots of little weedy type plants and things in the undergrowth here, so it could be eating that as well. Impalas are mixed feeders, which means they eat pretty much all kinds of vegetation, leaves and grass and other ground plants. You can hear the grey lories, or go-away birds as they're also known, calling in the background. And there was a wildebeest calling, and I think maybe that's our cue. We've given them some time. Let's take a slow little roll in there and see what there is to see. Maybe there's 2 new wildebeest to welcome to the world this morning. You can maybe call the one Great and the other one Scott. Then it's Great Scott that was born this morning. Let's go have a look. Also, as always, Dawn, to get back to your question, there is the possibility of at least predator interest, if not action, around something like a birth. Morning, guys. These are 2 young male impalas. See this guy here, he's got those little straight horns of basically a 1-year-old. Yours again. Môre yours. Wat is ook 2 maar draai wildebees hier op quarantine wat lyk of hulle gaan kalf nou net. Ja, as jy kom daar aan die braaiside se kant, so aan die suidelike paadjie, dan kom jy daai kant om, dan kom jy van die suidelike kant aan, dat ons kan jy lekker sien sommer. Alright guys, so this is just yours. We'll get back to the call signs, or the handles, as I know they call it in America often, for the different guys. We've been playing around. It started as a joke, but with different radio call signs for everyone here. But VM, if wildebeest for some reason didn't pan out finally, then Eagle Eyes would be a good one for you as well. VM has had some great spots on drive. I remember as a kid, and well, even now, but as a child going to game reserves, it was almost so much exciting to see who can spot, you know, the first anything, the first giraffe, the first elephant, the first impala, first elephant, first leopard. Always lots of fun to see who can see things first. There we go. The one getting up there, I think both of them getting up. Yes, that's both the females. The one lying down again, she's a little bit further along. I see the legs are slightly more extended than before. And as we saw the other day, the contractions, like with humans to an extent, they come in waves. And with every contraction, you tend to get a bit more movement of the fetus, or the baby, or the calf. Grey lories calling away in the background. Franklin's. Let's go a little bit closer. Try and see. You have to get the right angle here because there's a little bit of shrubbery around them. What we do is we don't approach straight on, we sort of move sideways a little bit. Interestingly enough, with the type of field of vision that you have with your plains game or your antelopes, if you move sideways to them, it doesn't actually look like you're moving much closer. So if you move at a sort of a slight angle across their vision but closer, then it's also less of a disturbance. But this is perfect. Over here. I love that. Let's go a little bit more. That's VM. Hello VM. Alright guys, let's have a look at this. This is a good view. Open area. Sure, this female in the foreground standing there and grazing. She's also about ready to have her calf. I mean, she'd have... she's massive. I'd say within the next probably 12 hours her calf will be born. There we go. See the one in the back? They're both lying together now. And the one lying sort of with the calf's feet sticking out to the right hand side. There she's having contractions again. And this could be another half an hour, it could be another minute or two, and that calf will be out. Having heavy contractions now. You can see the body heaving up and down. This one not quite as far yet, also while she's standing up. I think the other female not likely to get up much more. Oh, the other one's out, look at that! Seconds later, amazing! Amazing, amazing. Oh, that'll be Scott. Little head shake. Amazing how the other female is leaning in there to have a look. Even as the baby came out, the other female got up to have a look, and that's really interesting. We saw the same the other day with VM and with Brian's birth, the two that we saw. How the female with the one youngster came over, and it was almost like she introduced the other calf to it. Now I've seen that kind of behavior with elephant, but with the wildebeest it was quite nice just to see the social interest of the individuals. This little one is just waking up. A perfect day to be born in Africa. Yours is hier op my linkerkant inkom, gaan julle mooi weer. Die enetjie is net gebore. Just the other vehicle joining us, and this calf will be born very soon. Look at how amazing. The other female is busy giving birth, and yet she's giving attention to the newborn as well. Okay, this is it. Gonna try for its first. Stand up. There we go, wobbly legs. There we go, there we go. Môre môre. Goed, net gebore. Net, secondes terug. Seconds ago this was born. Hasn't even tried to stand up yet. Now the mother on the left hand side is the one that just had the calf, so that's Scott's mum. And the female at the back of the two, if all goes well and successful, she'll be the mother of Great. Come on, so crucial, those first wobbly, well, stand-ups and then steps. Oop, there we go. Every fall is an opportunity to get up again. Oh, there we go, there we go. Shake it off and try again. There we go, back legs up. Oh yeah. Maybe, yes, it's standing. It's no, yes, no, oops, yes, sort of, almost. It's almost as if the mum got impatient there. Oh, it's not the mum, it's the other female, the one that's about to give birth to the second one. Oh. Wobbly. Just notice how every attempt is better. It's amazing how quickly it's learned. Unbelievable. Now, out of interest sake, keep in mind the female standing next to that calf at the moment is not the mum. It's the female still busy giving birth. You can see the front or the hooves just protruding there from the back end. Wait, oh, all legs. A bit of encouragement. There's mum back now, giving a little lick, a bit of a clean. I'm just very glad that, at least for the moment, there are no predators around, nothing to create extra tension or extra urgency to this. This little guy can get used to gravity and having legs and all that kind of thing. Relative ease. There we go. Oop. Still soaking wet. It's going to be nice and hot today, so it's one thing we don't have to worry about. It's not a cold day or a windy or a rainy day. These calves will be warm and dry very soon. Set tight a little bit. Oh, there's just coming out on its knees. Well, its wrists really, if you're technical about it, but easy understood if it's explained as knees. You can see the little umbilical cord still dangling. I find it really interesting in this case how the two females that are giving birth, how there was a real interaction between the two and the first calf, you know, little Scott now. I really got the sense of, you know, support. We're in the same boat together kind of thing. I think VM, I'm just going to move along sort of parallel to them, just forward a little bit. Later. Oh, the sun is hot, very hot. Okay, it's on its legs, on its feet, shall I say. and now trying to suckle, but unless I'm mistaken, the little calf is trying to suckle from the mother who's still giving birth. Looks like it. That's the two females we've been watching. The one on the right hand side, she's got a little bit of the placenta still hanging out. That should clear anyway in the next few minutes to an hour or so. The last of the afterbirth coming out. But the calf is actually trying to suckle, and it's difficult to see, but I actually want to say it is suckling now from the female which is still giving birth. That's amazing, and there's no frustration or annoyance or anything from the female. In fact, she's helping and encouraging the calf. That's amazing. I remember the other day with the first two births we saw live, the question was asked whether they will allow other calves to suckle from them, and we said, yeah, probably in specific situations, or when maybe, look at that, yes, he was trying to suckle from the female that's still busy giving birth, and she was very gentle and very soothing with him rather than trying to push him away. Great to hear the guys back in control as well. Really enjoying this, guys. This is just something so special. It's you can spend years in the bush, literally years in the bush, guiding every day, and perhaps never see anything being born. This impala herd, sorry, I'm looking at impala herd on the other side, but this wildebeest herd have picked this as the area that is safe for them, the same as the impalas, to have the young. It's open, they can see, it's a fairly good place to sleep, they can avoid predators easier than they would in thick stuff. And there are still a number of cows in this herd that are very far along with their gestation period, or their pregnancy if you want. Excuse me, so not even impossible that we might see one or two more. Ja, precies, ne? He was also saying he's trying to drink from the wrong mum. Now it'll be interesting. I know imprinting is a very important thing with almost all mammals, and I'm sure this won't cause any problem, but it's just interesting that that's what happened. And it was also really amazing to see the interest from the female who's busy giving birth. There you can see the back, the feet still standing out, not coming out any further. It's almost like she's not having serious or heavy contractions yet. Now there were already 4 newborns in this herd. 5 if you count the one that was caught by the leopard. When was that? Almost a week ago. I think it was last week Tuesday, if I remember correctly, or Monday. So the days do sort of flow into each other a bit out here. Time is a very different beast out here than it would be in other parts of the world. So I think last week Monday or Tuesday, one was caught by a leopard. That was the first one in this herd. 4 other calves have been born subsequently. 5 now counting Scott, and perhaps 6. Well, not perhaps, almost certainly 6. It's just whether it happens now or a little bit later. You can see this calf still following around the female that's busy giving birth, and it might be that she can get a little bit more. Look at that, encouraging it. It's almost as if the mum, the one that actually gave birth to the calf, is, well, she's getting on with grazing, eating something. And this in itself could be an interesting little sort of micro drama within the herd, just to see how this calf gets on now. Keep in mind with imprinting, obviously the visual aspect plays a role, but Smell and sound is very, very powerful part of it. Probably smell the most in the beginning. So there we go. Back with the right mum. I'm hoping it'll get a little suckle soon. There you can see it sniffing. Oh yes, that's there you can see perfectly. Looking for the teat or the mammary gland. More importantly, looking for milk. Again, instinctively knowing that I must just keep feeling around mum's belly. I'm going to find the food somewhere. There we go. Yep. Hey, hey. All right. So this is all good. Born successfully, stood up, walked, started drinking milk. Those are the key steps. And from here on, it should all be downhill for this little calf. It should all be good. Still very, very, very wobbly legs. Wait. Ah, amazing. Amazing. Yeah. This other female's still not looking like she's in the sort of final throes of giving birth, but I'm sure it's inevitable. The rest of the herd now very relaxed, sort of spread out a little bit. Some of them grazing, some of them just taking it easy. Now this female is not in the... Oh no, sorry, I'm getting confused with the two. You see this calf following the one around. Had me for a second, they think I'm looking at the other female. The one lying down now with the calf still following her, or falling over her there. One lying down, that's the one that wants to give birth. Hilarious them trying to stay on the legs. There we go. Great, the one female's moved off slightly with her calf, hopefully giving this one a little bit of time just to focus on what is most importantly at hand for her, and that is to have her own baby now. It's fascinating. She's now following the female with the little calf again, almost as if she's really close to or interested in staying close to this calf that was born. Really interesting behavior. One can hypothesize or speculate about various reasons for it. You must keep in mind that during the birth process, sort of into it as we are now, the hormonal and chemical changes subsequently in the female's body, in the cow that's giving birth, is amazing. And I compare this to what I know about humans and what I've learned recently, as explained to me by my wife. When we had our second child, it's so much going on, so many things in the body that's preparing both mother and calf for life, for being born, for having a new baby, for bonding, for the body actually to react with the drama, if you want, of giving birth, for the calf to cope with the drama of being born, and the subsequent activity after that. So it could be that female is just in sort of that strong bonding mode almost, and having been so close to the other one, and there's a bit of, I think confusion would be the wrong word, but there is a little bit of I don't know, sort of the need to attach yourself to a calf or something in that order. I'm not explaining it very well, but I think you know what I mean. Is that to an extent she could be really close to that calf now because she's in the process of having one herself, and in her mind, or in her mode, maybe for a better description, she wants to look after this little calf because it's an instinct for her. Once the other calf's born, maybe that sorts itself out much easier. But difficult to say this is what's happening, because in nature there can be so many variations of what exactly happens and why it happens. So interesting to think about it and talk about it. Together, even supported each other to some extent. This little guy, of course, is not too curious about all that at the moment. The challenges are to breathe, to stay in your legs, those things, the basics of being a few minutes old in the world and already being able to stand, walk, run even in the next few minutes. So there's a lot going on in his life right now. Well, for her sake, that's not a bad spot. She's got some shade, and the difference in temperature has been, you could almost notice it as you're sitting here. Just as the sun is getting higher, the temperatures are climbing. Well, for her sake, that's not a bad spot. She's got some shade, and the difference in temperature has been, you could almost notice it as you're sitting here. Just as the sun is getting higher, the temperatures are climbing. It'll be quite interesting to know how fast, but I would say almost a degree every few minutes. Excuse me. And just as always, you have this beautiful symphony of summer around us. All the different birds. One of my favorite little birds, called a white-browed scrub robin, would fall, I guess, into the LBJ category, little brown jobs, the little birds. Beautiful song in the background. Rattling Sesticula, Aramark babblers. Just this chorus of sound. I love that about summer. It's just life all the way around, everywhere. Everywhere you look, everywhere you listen, even everywhere that you smell. Hey, here we go. As I said, it's sometimes even easier for them to run than it is to walk in the beginning. Walking actually needs a bit more coordination if you want to move the right foot at the right time. Whereas running, your momentum or the inertia does help to just sort of keep you moving forward. All you have to do is sort of put the one foot in front of you before you fall on your face, kind of thing. And incredible to see. Again, the instinct, that urge, that drive, that primal beat, if you want to do the next thing, which is key to survival. It does stay something amazing and magical for me. Hey. Just looking, there's a big marula tree trunk here between us and them. There you can see the trunk of quite a nice tree. You know what I want to suggest? And Scott, if you maybe want to get yourself ready there. This is, for me, almost, down the line we'll talk about the great times we had with Wild Earth at Djuma and with the live Big Cat Week and all the fantastic experiences we shared with people around the world. And one of the things that will keep coming up is the wildebeest births. And the first day when HD had the first birth, and we were really lucky that when we joined them to sort of see the aftermath, we had one as well. There was something really cool in that. It was fantastic to say, oh, we both shared this, we both had our experience with the audience on this. And this female is not in a great hurry to have the calf. I mean, I'm not saying she's going to take a day. She might take another half an hour. But she's not having massive contractions yet. She's not lying down consistently. So what I want to say is, I think, and well, you guys can just confirm for me if that's a good idea. I mean, ideally, you don't want to break the story. I'd love to finish the whole end of this, but I would absolutely love for Scott to see one of these as well, give you his views, his experiences on it. And what a great way to have your first live drive, to see the birth of a beautiful young wildebeest. So if that's good, we are close to camp. These guys are just moving along slowly. I think I'm going to head back quickly, swap vehicles with Scott, let him get back out here and see the birth of this next one. They have moved off a little bit as well. They are slightly further from us now. And I think, well, unless you guys want to specifically maybe ask me to stay for this to finish, I think that would be great. Okay, yeah, let's move along. We'll be back in a second. Oh. Sorry, my volume is down. Standing by. Okay, great. Well, I'm going to quickly come pick up Scott as we discussed. Is that still good? Ek gaan probeer 'n draai maak vandag. Lekker weer. Doodreg. Kan ek maar draai maak later? Doodreg sal gaaf wees. Yes. Okay, guys. Let's have a quick look where they are going. There she is, just to give you a view of her again. Standing with the rear towards us. Still sniffing the other calf, the two females that, well, we're starting to give birth together, still together in sharing space. Just have a vehicle pass by there. That's yours. Great guy, very keen photographer, knows this area well. He loves the cats. Alright, this was a bit of an impromptu decision, but I really think it would be great for Scott to to have this experience as well. We're going to take a quick turn here. I just want to have a little look around and also leave her to really settle down. Not that we're disturbing her, but I really would like her to settle down, get comfortable. Hopefully those contractions pick up so that when Scott gets here you can see the sort of exciting part of the birth. I love that part. Once the calf is out and the whole trying to stand up and looking for milk, for me that is just absolute magic. And I think, as I've said many times now, but that would be a great thing for you guys to share with Scott, Scott to share with you guys. And also I know that around the campfire tonight, you know, I would love to hear Scott. He's a very enthusiastic guy. He's got this really sort of energy about him, and his eyes light up, and he's got a lot of passion for things. So it would be great for us tonight to talk about all three presenters having had the opportunity to witness that. So just want to do a quick look around, just in case there are maybe hyenas, leopard, lion, who knows. It's a long story actually, come to think of it, but and my first experience at Djuma, the first time I came here, I was actually with a very good friend of mine, Steve Bailey. He owns a lodge now not far north of here. And the first buffalo great sighting I had was of a newborn buffalo that was not feeling, something was not great with it. It was maybe a couple of hours old. And first jackals came. We didn't know that there were lions at all in the area. The jackals tried to catch it. Mother chased the jackals off, and the next thing, lions came in. It was an incredibly emotional sighting. Africam, actually, those of you that followed Africam a long time, there was an Africam camera there that day as well, which is the sort of the brainchild, if you want, of what is now Wild Earth. And I'll never forget that. It was such an intense experience. And the point is, just want to have a look around and see if there isn't maybe something moving around. You know, you never know what might be in the area, what might be sniffing something down the wind. There are still hyena tracks. So let's have a quick look around, then we're going to find Scott. And of course, Scott will be, well, all of us will be, joined by Mark towards the end of the month, actually beginning of next month, and they'll be the guys taking you through. Oh, no, it's not. For a minute I thought I saw a leopard up in one of those trees in the distance. But Scott and Mark will be the guys taking you through after Big Cat Week for the rest of the summer, December and January. All right. Have to look around carefully. I mean, keep in mind, only last night, towards the end of the drive, gorilla was seen, I mean, right by the camp. Alright guys, we're gonna just go down this way a little bit, right here close to camp. And as I was saying, you know, the wildlife here, they don't think of, oh, there's a human camp. It's all part of the same thing. It's all part of nature, all part of the same environment. It's only last night that gorilla was seen literally right here on the ground. And which way is Scott going? All right, here's Scott.
That didn't take you long?
Yeah, bro, I just wanted to see that, and I'm not going to talk too long now.
Cool.
Because it really is, something
very special.
Very special. I'd love for you to share that and, you know, have your first live experience with a live birth. So
cool.
Have fun.
Thank
enjoy
you very
it,
much.
guys.
That's very kind of you.
As I said, he's got that laugh thing going on. You can enjoy it. Enthusiasm is a fantastic thing. So
Would you mind
let me grab that for you.
Thanks. Okay, great, Pete.
This can just stay in here. It's just my backpack. It's got, you know, first aid kits and things like that. Okay. So have fun.
Cool, thanks, buddy.
Right. Liam, enjoy. Liam can also help you, but it's you go across quarantine,
cool,
and then toward that braai site you cut down and you'll see them. She was on her own. There was a little termite mine. She was starting to lie down in front of it. So towards the braai site down to the right. She's pretty relaxed, but I'm talking too much. Enjoy it. I'm going to be listening to you this side, and see you later.
Cool. Hi everyone. Sorry to take you away from the second of my third day, so I have yet to familiarize myself with the road network and where everything is. But thankfully Viam will help me with that for today. I couldn't believe my eyes this morning. I shot out of the control room for 10 minutes to make some coffee for the rest of the team, and I came back to see that Peter had found the wildebeest and one had already given birth just in that short time frame. And like Peter did mention, you can spend years and years guiding and not see something special like this. I know I speak for myself. Like Peter did mention, you can spend years and years guiding and not see something special like this. I know I speak for myself. I've yet to see a wildebeest give birth in the 6 years that I've been in this industry, so it is important to remember how lucky it is to see something like that, especially live.
Alright.
To all the welcome tweets, thank you very much. Okay, we have found the wildebeest. I'm just going to approach very slowly and establish which angle will be the best for us and also for the wildebeest. We wouldn't want to obviously create any disturbance to them. Sorry, I know this is not the best angle, but because they are approaching us and on the move, I'd rather just wait for a minute or two, and if we're lucky they may come closer to us. To whoever it was out there that suggested the first wildebeest to be born to be named Scott, I thank you for that suggestion. Very interesting how there was a lot of confusion between young Scott the wildebeest and the other pregnant wildebeest who is still yet to calf. I'm just going to reverse and try and get a better angle for us. Look at him go. it is truly remarkable how within about 25 to 30 minutes this young wildebeest is already capable enough to, you could call it run around or scramble about, especially if you consider how long it takes us to do the same thing. Good morning, Valerie from California. Sorry I've yet to say much about myself due to the circumstances, the very favorable circumstances we found ourselves in this morning. But to give you a brief summary of my guiding career, I started in the industry in the beginning of 2008 within the Sabi Sands, but further south in the reserve relative to where we are now, and there I trained and became a guide. Worked there for 4 years, which was an incredible introduction to the guiding industry. The Sabi Sands as a whole is a really spectacular wilderness destination, and the lodges within it tend to really deliver a high level of guiding. So to be fortunate enough to start in the Sabi Sands, I'm very grateful for. And after a few years here in the Sabi Sands, I decided to spread my wings and headed up to East Africa, where I've spent the last few years, where I did a combination of private guiding all over Kenya, as well as camp management and a bit of guide training, which took me into some parts of Tanzania as well. So I really enjoyed my time in East Africa, and it's got some incredible wilderness destinations. So I do intend on spending more time up there, but it was time to come home. And now I found myself with Wild Earth. So that's kind of a brief summary. If you have any more questions or anything else you would like to know, please fire away. Okay, sorry about that camera angle. I'll tell you what, this type of guiding is new to me, as you're all aware, and there's a lot to think about relative to having your standard six or so guests sitting on the back. Okay. Well, it's good to see now that this calf is spending more time with its mother and not the other female. Very nice to be able to see the contrast between a very newborn calf and ones that are about a week old. a lot of the time in this industry, people are interested in the age of animals, and understandably so. But to guess accurately is very difficult unless you have this kind of information or experience in that. You know, a week ago we saw this female who is standing a bit closer to us with the kind of deformed horn, which makes it easy to distinguish. But she gave birth about a week ago to her youngster. And then now, you know, we can say, well, we know that when a wildebeest looks like these ones do and the umbilical cord is dried to such a degree, you can guess that it's about a week old. Cute. The second female seems to be making a bit of progress. This is the furthest that she has managed to get those legs out at this stage. So let's watch closely here. It's difficult to be sure, but I think that I can actually almost see the calf's head poking out the other side. It's difficult because the tail is hiding it, but it could well be out, which is a great sign. Once that head pops out, I'm sure the process will unfold quite quickly. Yes, you can see the head there if you look closely. Look at that. Incredible. Just to let everyone know, I am a photographer and thoroughly enjoy it. So I'm just getting my camera ready. Look at this. The calf is really finding its feet now. And just like humans and dogs and most animals, when you're young, you are carefree and playful. And that is exactly what this one is feeling right now. I think its mother is aware, though, that there are a lot of worries and concerns, especially at this early stage of its life. If a predator was to be in the vicinity now, the odds would be stacked heavily against the youngster. But it doesn't know that, so we'll keep it that way. So here it looks like, I think she's just taking another breather, the second female. She does seem like she is in discomfort, but that may... Oh, it looks like she's getting there. If she possibly manages to get the strength to stand up again. Oh, there it is. Incredible. So it seems that the second calf is about halfway out. She just needs to give one last little push. there you can see the youngster shaking its head. There we go. Incredible. And I've just got an update from the control that this second calf to be born on this beautiful day has been named Peter. The fourth young wildebeest to be born since the filming here at Djuma and Arathusa began just a few weeks ago. It really is incredible to have been able to capture 4 births in such a short period of time. Let's watch closely. Here, I know this one wildebeest in the foreground is a little bit in the way, but I'd rather just wait for it to kind of graze itself out of the frame. As it so often happens in nature, the mothers will lick up all the amniotic fluid and consume as much of those nutritious bits that it can. Which is obviously very useful for her health after a very energy expending procedure that she's just been through, and it also, I guess, eliminates any extra smells or scents that may lure in any form of predator. Hopefully it won't be too much longer before we see it attempt its first steps. It looks like it is getting ready for that. Oh, there it goes. Oh. I can't reiterate how astounding it is, the speed at which they managed to sync their coordination, their brain to their long spindly legs. The mother's already feeding, which again is just a great example of how tough nature can be and how effective these wild animals are at surviving. No hospitals or doctors or special attention required. They just carry on with business as normal minutes after giving birth. I read up a little bit on wildebeest and their calving and gestation periods, just to make sure I knew what was the exact kind of figures there. And interestingly, the calf weighs about 22 kilograms on average, a blue wildebeest calf. I wouldn't have said that much, but that's what the textbooks say. I'm not sure exactly how they managed to weigh a wildebeest calf as it was born. And a 250-day gestation period, which, to relate to a smaller kind of antelope like an impala, which is around 200 days, you typically find the bigger the animal, the longer the gestation, but that's no hard and fast rule. There we go. It's up on all fours for a record-breaking time. I'm sure it will shortly start performing some Alton Flatley river dance moves for us. Oh, there we go. Another example of how nature has worked out how to do things properly. The wildebeest have plenty of fresh green shoots here for grazing, so what a perfect time to give birth. As the summer rains have begun to fall, there's an abundance of food which will allow not only the mother to regain her strength, but it will allow her to produce high quantities of milk, nutritious milk for the calf to grow quickly. Interestingly, we have a buffalo not too far from us, which has come to investigate. I'd be intrigued to know if it did smell anything, and that's why it's come, or if it's just seen some similar looking beasts to itself and thought it would come along to investigate. Beautiful big buffalo bull. It just goes to show that if you do sit in one place and be patient, this is obviously a unique example because there were wildebeest giving birth, which doesn't happen every day. But by sitting in one place for an extended period of time, animals can come to you and you can really get a feel for what is happening around you. I know because we've been here for about 15-20 minutes now that there have been no alarm calls in the surrounding area, which is an indication that within even potentially a few kilometers radius of here, there haven't been any predators seen by monkeys or baboons. So it's just useful intelligence for what to do next and what to do this afternoon. All these little pieces of the puzzle that you slowly build up and piece together gives you a good idea of where to go and what to do. These calves managed to find the milk. And it really looks like it's enjoying itself. hope that Scott, the first wildebeest from this morning, didn't drink too much of Peter's milk, because there was a little bit of confusion there. Imagine the poor mother thinking, oh my lord, my calf has abandoned me, and the poor second female that was still pregnant, had a lot on her plate, hadn't even given birth, and there was a calf suckling her. That is the beautiful thing about nature, is you can never predict what will happen, and you can read in textbooks as much as you like, but bizarre little things like this happen, where it made me wonder that have calves, the same thing happened, but the mother not being able to retrieve its calf, and then one female being stuck with the responsibility of raising two. All these kinds of little interesting things are possible in nature. Copy, thanks very much, Peter. I've just got a question from Sharon on Twitter, and she's asking whether the afterbirth would attract predators, and the answer to that is yes. I think that is why I mentioned earlier, the female will consume that afterbirth for that reason, to eliminate any scent or smell that could attract potential predators, as well as just for her own good. By consuming it, she's obviously getting a lot of nutrition back. So I hope that answers your question, Sharon. And it is difficult to see now, obviously, because the grass is a little bit long, but I'm pretty convinced that she has consumed all of the afterbirth, because we cannot see any there, and I'm sure she'll continue to lick the actual calf and really give it a good clean over the next few minutes. Well, I couldn't have had a luckier or better start to my wild earth career. Again, like I said, I've never seen a wildebeest give birth before, so for it to happen today really puts a big smile on my face. So thank you, Mother Nature, and also a big thank you must go to the crew at Wild Earth. They've all been extremely hospitable and friendly, and they've been offering advice and really just making me feel at home here. So a big thank you to the team. And one team member that is missing from us at the moment is Mark. I've heard a lot of stories about him. Some friends of mine, colleagues within the industry, do know Mark, so I've heard a bit about him and watched some of his shows from the past. So really looking forward to him getting here. and it's not going to be too much longer. I think he'll be arriving on the 7th of December, so I look forward to meeting him. But yeah, very fortunate to have come into a happy and hard-working team here. Copy that, thank you. I'm just going to fire off 1 or 2 photos, and then I think we should head off and see what else is out there. I need to learn the roads. Never good when you forget your memory card, especially when something like this is happening. So sadly we will not be getting any of the photos from that. Anyway, let's leave this lovely scene and go and explore. Okay. Well, folks, what a great start to this morning. Let's go and see what else is out there. Haven't heard too much on the Game Drive channel up to date. So what we are going to do is just head out and see what we can find. Like I say, I've only been here, this is my 3rd day, and I've spent a lot of time in the control room understanding the behind the scenes aspect of what's going on here. So I haven't had much time to get out and explore and familiarize myself with the roads. So I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that know where we are right now a lot better than I actually do. I did have a look around where Karula was last seen last night, where she had returned to a baby impala kill that she had hoisted into the marula tree, and actually left there for a full night, almost 36 hours. She left that kill. But she returned last night and appears to have consumed it and moved off. I kind of circled the area where she had been and didn't manage to find any of her tracks heading out or indicating where she may have gone to next. So that is the update I have on her, which sadly is not very informative, but I did go and check. So what we can do now is maybe head kind of back into that general vicinity, and I can get out and check for tracks, and by that way again slowly piece the puzzle together. Good morning, Clancy it is, from Colombo, I think it was. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. Clancy from Columbus, Ohio. Thank you very much and welcome this morning, and thank you for welcoming me to Wild Earth. Clancy asked if I could choose one thing to see during my time here over the next few months, what would it be? To see a big bird of prey like a martial eagle or a crowned eagle, two really incredible aerial predators, that would be something that I would love to see. I've seen wild dogs make kills, I've seen leopard make kills, lions, hyena, jackal, a lot of your top predators, but I've yet to see any raptors make, or bigger raptors at least, make a kill. So that would be something that would be high on the list. The list does go on though. A pangolin, for example, is an incredibly interesting animal that I've only seen once in all my years of guiding. So those are two that are high up on the wish list. It would be interesting to know what you would like to see, Clancy. What would you like to see around the next corner in an ideal dream come true world? I look forward to hearing your answer. While you get back to us on that, I'm just gonna get out, and when I get to road junctions, not all of the time, but at certain road junctions it can be beneficial just to jump out the vehicle, have a quick look around and establish that whether any predators were walking down the roads. The substrate of a road does influence the ease of being able to see tracks. In very sandy soil it becomes a lot easier to see tracks. On harder ground like we have ahead of us here, would require a closer look, and that's why I'm just going to jump out for a second or two, have a quick look around, and then come back with an update. Okay, nothing major to report back there. There was a civet that walked down this road, but probably not very recently, and also some zebra. Most times you get out and do these little checks, they don't provide any useful information, but the 10 to 20% of the time that you do find some tracks, obviously just increases your odds that much more of finding an animal. That's good to know, thank you very much. Vim, are you going to be able to get in close to that elephant dung? There we go. So an elephant walked down this road not very long ago. This is evident from the large pile of dung in the road. You can tell that it's fresh obviously from the moisture. You can see that it's a little bit wet still. Whether it was early last night or the early hours of this morning, it's hard to, or hard for me at least, to know, but it is certainly fresh within, I'd say, the last 12 hours. And fresh dung has no better friend or fan than the dung beetle, of which you can see numerous individuals ferreting through the dung. Oh, the one on the kind of right hand side of the shot seems to have a bit of a head start. It's got a fairly decent little ball of dung that it's fashioning into a round ball. Whether it stole it from another one or built it on its own, we're yet to know. They do definitely steal from one another. And you'll find there'll be both males and females attracted to these fresh piles of dung. But typically the male will do most of the work while the female enjoys the scenery. And obviously the first male to complete a ball of dung will be kind of first in line for the ladies, and then head off on honeymoon, rolling the small ball of dung along with them. Often the female will just sit on top while the male rolls her away on holiday. They will then mate, and the female will lay her egg within that small ball of dung, and they'll leave that alone and carry on with their lives. Typically they'll try and bury it a little bit or get it under some kind of shelter or protection, leaf litter. And as time goes by, you could imagine that round ball of dung will create a hard casing or crust, which acts as a protective layer for the larvae inside, and it also keeps the dung within that casing a little bit moist, so that when the egg hatches, the larvae will then have some digestible food to feed on before it breaks itself free of that little hard casing and into the real world. Really is awesome to see how they all have their own kind of little mission, and up and down and backwards and forwards, they really are in the zone and making the most of this situation. Not a second to waste. Okay, because there are none that are appearing to be close to completion, I think we'll carry on and hopefully in time find some that have been on a pile of dung for a bit longer, and that way kind of see the next steps in the process. And who knows, if we're lucky, we could find the animal responsible for providing the dung beetles with all that entertainment and food further down this road. good morning, Heather, and welcome to Djuma. The hat that I've got was actually a gift from a good friend of mine in Durban. I think he could be watching this morning as well, a good friend of mine called Adam. And before I headed to East Africa, he gave this hat to me as a gift, which was about 2.5 years ago. You'll notice the beads on the side. That I got done by a wonderful Maasai lady in an area called Magadi, which is in the Rift Valley, the southern Rift Valley of Kenya. And there's a series of soda lakes called the Magadi Soda Lakes, where I was on safari and literally saw a Maasai lady sitting under a tree in an open clearing, and kind of went up a little bit closer to investigate to see what she was doing. And she was doing some beading just for herself and her family and friends. Their culture uses a lot of beads for decoration and adornment. So I just literally whipped off my hat and we worked out an idea of what to do, and she literally did this right in front of me. It didn't take her long, and then I continued with the safari. So yes, this hat has been around, well traveled in East Africa, but it's its debut in the Sabi Sands. So that is the history up to date. It saw its first wildebeest getting born this morning, which I'm sure it's very happy about. And the nice thing about this hat is that it kind of regains its shape, so you can scrunch it into a ball, put it into your bag, and pop it out wherever you get to on safari and continue there with no major issues. Beautiful blue skies today, not a cloud in the sky. That can all change though this afternoon. We don't know what it will hold, but for now we have got nothing to worry about, and a nice little breeze actually, which is helping to keep us cool. Okay, Clancy. Oh, excuse me, sorry, I'm getting very confused here at the moment with the handheld. I think I'm speaking to you guys asking questions from all over the world, which is not going to work. But Clancy did get back to me on the question of what she would like to see, and she's also a raptor or bird of prey fan, so I'm glad we're on the same page there, and hopefully we'll have some entertainment from the raptors. So yes, I'm glad we're on the same page with that, Nancy. I will be sure to do my utmost and whatever I can to provide you with some good raptor entertainment. Early in the morning now, to elaborate or to carry on with the theme of raptors, you typically won't see any of the bigger birds of prey in the sky, and that's simply because they would rather wait for it to heat up a bit. The thermals will then become stronger and more effective, and that allows them for more effortless flights, a lot less energy expenditure. So I'm sure within about half an hour to 45 minutes some of the raptors would have started up, and that will obviously increase our chances of viewing them. Unless we get lucky and find one in a tree, sitting down, waiting for the thermals. There's quite a large family of Inyala up ahead. I'm just going to try and get into a position where we can stop and view them. They're incredibly beautiful antelope. I'm just going to back up a little bit, but sadly, due to the nature of this thick vegetation that they typically like to spend time in along riverbeds, they are difficult customers to view. There's a big beautiful male there. I think he's going to pop out. There we go. We'll carry on. I'm sure we'll find more opportunities to view them in a more favorable situation. To everyone that have been sending through kind words and welcoming on Twitter and or email, I cannot thank you enough for that. I was a nervous individual this morning before I started, and the warm welcoming has certainly allowed me to ease into things and feel a lot more confidence about this whole experience. So I cannot thank you enough. And a question from Robin regarding the tear in my t-shirt. I will find the criminal that created this shortly. It's a, oh, here we go. It is a tree that we find in this area, and I'm just going to jump out for a second to show you exactly why and how this tree got a hold of my shirt. So I'm not sure if you can see, but there is a very big straight thorn. And if I turn the tree around, you'll see a hooked thorn coming out of the top of it. I hope you can see that. But basically, if you can't, there's a very straight thorn, and coming out the other side of the branch is a very hooked thorn. Now, what that means is, it doesn't matter which way you're going or moving, it kind of latches onto you. And I was reversing back into some bush whilst approaching some animals a few months ago, and I needed to kind of creep backwards, keeping my eye on the animal, and a buffalo thorn, which this tree is named, latched onto my shirt and tore it. So I am not the first person to get tangled up in one of these trees. They are notorious. And the reason why they are called buffalo thorns is because buffalo have been known to reverse into them, leaving their horns exposed to fend off predators, and knowing that its rear end will be protected or safeguarded by this network of thorns. It's essentially impenetrable fence for predators who may be trying to approach the buffalo from the other side. Another interesting thing about this specific tree is that it's got a very important traditional use within the local Shangaan community, as well as the Zulu tribe, which is further south along the east coast where I grew up. And when somebody passes away, if they do not pass away in their hometown or kind of place of birth, what will happen is a family member will who is based at their kind of home or place of birth will go into the bush and find a buffalo thorn and pick out a specific branch, snip it off, and then travel to wherever their family member has passed away and perform a ritual with the branch over the body. And this ritual allows the soul or the spirits of that person to be collected and held within the branches and thorns, and I'm sure the thorns have a part to play in the collecting and holding of the soul. And then that branch will be transported back to the person's place of birth, where they can then perform a proper burial ceremony with their soul. And funnily enough, on the way down to collect the spirit or the soul, the branch will not have to pay an airfare or a taxi fare or a train fare, but on the way back, because they are bringing back a soul or a person, they will actually pay the fare for the transport of that soul or person back to his hometown. Good. Where's this thing gone? Yeah. That's good news, because there's plenty more that require attention. Just to keep everybody in the loop, I am not entirely sure of our exact position or what may pop up around the next corner in terms of dams or riverbeds. But for those of you that have been following Wild Earth for a decent period of time, you'll know that anything is possible around any corner. So I am just as excited and interested to find whatever is lurking and waiting for us. I do have a general idea of where the control is and where we need to head back to, but between now and there, anything could happen. The fact that Viam is here is also reassuring me. So because he's been here for a few weeks, he's got a handle on the road network, so I'm not too concerned. So while I was spending the last 2 days familiarizing myself with the control room and behind the scenes of how everything happens here, I did notice that an opportunity for you, the viewer, to spot an animal is not easy. It'll certainly, I think, be easier for us here in the field to spot something. But that doesn't mean to say you cannot see anything. The only advice I can give, or the best advice I can give, or an idea I can give to you, is instead of looking into the bush where it's very difficult to get a depth of field from the screen, look into the trees, and especially the trees with big horizontal branches. They will potentially be a platform for a leopard to lie down on. So the good thing about looking up into the trees or any elevated branches is that you'll be able to see a silhouette, a straight tail hanging directly down from a horizontal branch, or 4 vertical legs hanging down from a horizontal branch. That would be what you need to look for. And that would also help me, because while I'm looking down and in the bushes or left or right, you may see something else. It's happened to me, and I'm sure many other guides before, driving down a road, looking around, not necessarily switched off, but possibly daydreaming and just enjoying the atmosphere. And 5 minutes after you've driven down a road, you may find another vehicle drives down that road and finds a leopard sleeping in a tree that you've just driven under. So it is something worth bearing in mind, that it's easy to oversee some of the predators. I've just stopped over here because we have managed to see a raptor, really interesting raptor, or bird of prey. It's in the big tree to our left. Yeah, I'm kind of in the center. I'm not sure if we're too far away, but if you just zoom straight in there, and kind of in the top of the screen now, you'll notice a dark blob in that tree. There we go. Obviously it's a long way away, so not easy to see from here, but it's an incredibly beautiful bird of prey called an African hawk eagle. I'm just going to get it in the book for you guys, but to show you a closer picture of it, so give me a second. And these birds of prey are kind of semi-ambush hunters, and interestingly they hunt in pairs. I've just spotted the mate, which is a couple of 100 meters away, which we'll go to in a few minutes time, to show you that there are 2 together, and they hunt in cooperation with one another, which is relatively rare for birds of prey. You might find that one may be flying high up in the sky, creating a decoy, while the other comes swooping in from a low angle, to give you an idea of what they may be doing. If we I've just got the book ready here now to show you a closer image of the bird. And here in the bottom left you can see very pretty black and white markings on its chest, yellow feet and a little yellow cere, which is that little piece of flesh on their bill. So that is the African hawk eagle. They often hunt other birds such as guinea fowl and francolin. I know that those are kind of top on their list of prey items, but like most predators, they will happily branch out and take whatever opportunity they can. Okay, interestingly enough, just like I was speaking about earlier about the heating up in thermals, there are a few vultures that have kind of been circling around now, so that's a good sign for us. They've moved off as we were speaking, but it is a good sign for us to show that it's now getting warm enough for the birds of prey to become active and start their day out. So Clancy, I hope you enjoyed that sighting of the African hawk eagle. And everybody else out there, but now that I know that Clancy is interested in raptors, I will keep that in mind going forward. And that goes for everyone, you know, catering for a big safari audience like this is something new to me, but the more we know about what you're interested in and what what gets you excited, the more it allows us to cater for those specific needs and go out of our way to try and do something special for everyone. Obviously there's a limit to how much we can do out here. Mother Nature's in charge, but if we've got an idea of something that may interest you or something that you'd really like to see, it does help us fine-tune or make decisions as to how to conduct our drives. It really is so good to be back in the Sabi Sands. I left here about 3 years ago, and all the places I've seen between now and then have been incredible, and East Africa does have some incredible wilderness destinations, but to come back to the Sabi Sands really does remind me of how unique and special this environment and ecosystem is. The fact that we have no fences between us and the Kruger National Park really is a huge blessing and privilege to be able to explore an ecosystem of such magnitude where there's no influence of us as man to control numbers or intervene in any way. You can literally just let nature take its course, and that is rare in this day and age. So something that we do need to cherish. If we look in the road, on the left-hand side of the road there, just before it scurries away, not that it's the fastest moving animal on the planet, but it is on its way out, we have a small geometric tortoise, it looks like. And it must really be enjoying this time of the year after a long and dry winter where they'll essentially shut down and become dormant, a form of hibernation. Now that the summer's come through and the rain's fallen, there's a lot of vegetation that they can feed on, and they'll be enjoying being out of their dormant state of winter. Anne on Twitter, your question is a very good one, in that you're asking why all 4 wildebeest calves that were born were male. That is not the case, and we have misled you to believe that by naming all of them after males. So I do apologize for that, but in actual fact we are not sure whether they are male or female. Morning. Good, how are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Nothing.
Nothing. One in combat, but other than that, nothing else. My friend, I'm actually not sure where I am at the moment,
No problem.
so I can't even tell you where it was. But have a great morning, and I'll come round and meet you guys a bit later, and we can have a chat. I've only just arrived, so it'll be good to chat. Okay, have a good morning. Enjoy, folks. Sorry, Anne. Just had to chat to a fellow guide who is having a good morning here in Djuma as well. So back to where I left off, the 4 wildebeest are not necessarily males. They were just named males after, well, the Twitter request this morning had nothing to do with us, but the initial 2 births were decided on by the crew and named after the 2 cameramen here, Viam and Brian. But to be honest, it would be very difficult to sex them at a young age. A few days or weeks would be needed for them to develop, and it would then be easier for us to establish whether they are male and female. So we will keep you updated on any updates there, and if we do discover that Scott is a girl, we will obviously have to change his or her name, and that goes for all of them. But yes, it's true that in nature you would expect a 50-50 ratio. There's a chance that all are females, there's a chance that all are boys. I mean, it's obviously a very small group in which to base any research or findings for a population as a whole. But a good question and good observation from you. So the other ranger that just headed past said he didn't have any major updates regarding leopard or lion. just testing if you guys are still copying me. Okay, thanks. We're going to try our luck. There's a very pretty bird that I know Peter also tried to point out yesterday, but it fluttered away. That specimen, which has a really outrageous hairdo and coloration, is a crested barbet. Oh, well, at least we got a glimpse of it. I'll be sure to keep my eye out for any nests. They nest in cavities that they either make or find in trees. And once we do find a nest, which I think we could over the next few weeks, then obviously that'll allow us to view and film them a lot better coming in and out of the nest. So I'm just having a look in the tree that it initially flew out of, which is a dead knobthorn tree, but can't actually see any cavities. But wouldn't that make a nice home? I wouldn't mind living in there if I was a crested barbet. The crested barbet also has a very distinctive call, which when I hear when we're not on the move, I'll be sure to point out to you. It's one of the calls of Africa that really reminds me and makes me feel I'm back in the bush once I've been away for a while. Morning, Anne from Rhode Island. Your question is another good one, and thank you for that. Anne has asked what my favorite or most memorable sighting has been in the 6 years of my guiding career. It's a difficult question to answer because I would like to say that there's kind of different genres. So just like the Oscars, people win awards for certain categories or sections, and it's the same, I think, for safari. You get different categories. So you could have, for example, the kill category, which is the most impressive kill that you've seen, or the most touching or most memorable thing that's happened is another kind of genre. And anyway, the first thing that did come to mind today when you asked the question was probably a few years ago, also in the Sabi Sands, further south of here though. We followed a leopard very closely there. She was called the Ravenscourt female. Sadly now she has passed away. She was about 12 or 13 years when she did pass away, which is quite young. Anyway, I'm losing focus here. The Ravenscourt female we followed very closely, similar to how Wild Earth has been following Karula over the years, and she was kind of the star of the show down there. We managed to see her mating with a beautiful big male called the Kashan male leopard, and once you see them mating, obviously not only is it a huge privilege to see such a spectacle, but it allows you to know accurately that within about 3 months, 90 days to 100 days, there's a strong chance that that leopard will give birth. So after having seen her mate with the Kashan male and waiting the 3-month period, we saw a behavior change, and she would begin to spend a lot more time in a series of rocky outcrops called the Tavangumi Koppies. And this was very central within her territory, and it was the only major rocky outcrop within her territory. And she kept on spending time there. We would see her heading into this big rocky outcrop, over a period of a few weeks, and we obviously also knew that that correlated with when she should be giving birth relative to when she was mating a few months prior to that. And myself and my tracker at the time were out on a morning drive, and we had followed her tracks from about 1 kilometer away, leading us back to the Tavangumi koppies, where we knew she had been spending time, but because they were quite big, we didn't know exactly where she may be hiding the cubs. There was many different hiding places that she could potentially use. The fact that we were able to follow her tracks up to the base of the koppies gave us a very good idea of where she was heading to, and within minutes of leaving the last point of the tracks on foot and deciding to get the vehicle and come round and park at the point where we had those last tracks, within 10 minutes of waiting, we saw her appear out of a small little cave, and closely behind her 2 tiny little fur balls. And that for me was one of the most exciting and special moments, because of the history and the fact that we were the first people to see those little cubs. It was a very special moment. But one of many special moments, and I'm sure over the next few weeks and drives I'll be able to share more stories and more exciting tales from my time. The list really is long, and I hope you understand what I mean by the fact that there are different genres for excitement or entertainment out here. It's not only the big and famous stars that can have an impact, or a strong impact, or create a bold memory in your mind. Just looking up into a few more dead trees for any potential nest sites, and not only for the crested bar, but there's a lot of birds that nest in cavities and trees, and they do provide a very good viewing opportunity for birds that nest in a typical stick bowl nest are obviously a lot more difficult to view because there's a platform of branches in your way, whereas the cavity in a tree allows for great sightings of them as they come in and out. Well, here we are approaching a dam. If any of you out there know which dam it is, it would be great for you to let me know, and that way I can have a look on the map and establish where we are. I'm just going to get up onto the dam wall where I think we'll have a better view. There's one hippo, it looks like, and a few buffalo. The dam wall was not a good idea, but not to worry, everything happens for a reason. I will just continue onto the other side of the dam and find a vantage point there. Again, anybody who knows where we are, I'd be very impressed and grateful your response. Okay. Very pretty dam this. And now I can see another 2 hippo have popped their heads up and 2 buffalo bulls doing what they do best on a hot summer's day, and that is wallowing. They seem to have potentially just arrived because they don't look very muddy or wet. That could be also because it hasn't been, it's only warming up now, so maybe we've arrived just in time for some entertainment of them doing a mud bath for us. Like I said earlier, there are evidently 3 of these hippos. They're almost positioned equidistant from one another in a kind of triangular shape, which is interesting. Oh, there's a 4th, a youngster I've just seen, so that's the 2nd one. And if you look a little bit, oh, now a 4th and a 5th and a 6th and a 7th have popped up, so they have deceived me initially, but there seem to be about 7 in here. The one that we have in view now appears to be a mother, and if we keep watching her, we'll see not a small baby, but a youngster popping up alongside her every now and then to get its breath. And a good indicator to us of how deep this dam is, wherever you can see a hippo with its head and its kind of back end of its rump out the water, as you can the one on the left, it means that its front legs and its back legs are both on the ground, which obviously tells you that it's about a meter, just over a meter, 1.2, 1.3 meters deep. Whereas if you can just see their nose poking out in the head, then it could be kind of just standing or balancing on its back legs at a 45 degree angle. Obviously a young hippo standing next to its mother may not touch the ground, and therefore you'll see them using their mother as an aid to get up to get air. could you just go again with the name, please? Okay, copy. Thank you very much. To the kind people who have informed me that this is Buffalo's Hook Dam, I am hugely grateful. And now I can get the map out and have a look at where we are. I'm just going to carry on driving. There doesn't seem to be too much going on here. So while we've still got a few more minutes, I would like to see what else we might be able to find. But again, thank you for that information. Copy, good idea. I will try and do that. Good morning, Marco, on Twitter. Thank you again for the kind welcome, and your request to see a weaver bird's nest is something we certainly can do. Sadly, because I haven't explored this area much up to date or at all, except this morning, I do not know where any weavers are currently nesting. In terms of a regular weaver that make a kind of ball-shaped nest, there's a weaver called the buffalo weaver, which makes a community nest, and that I do know where a big nest is. So we can try and swing past that if there's time. If not, I'll make sure in one of the coming drives to find out and show you some weaver birds' nests. It's very interesting to have a closer look at them, because depending on the individual weaver, the nest can be quite drastically different. So an interesting request and a good one of the smaller things, and that's so important to focus on the smaller things and get to know the difference between the different weaver birds and their nests. A really incredible thing to watch is a weaver building its nest, because obviously all they've got is a beak. They're holding on to the nest or a branch with their 2 feet, and you could imagine weaving grass fairly intricately or very intricately with your mouth, with your hands tied behind your back. It wouldn't be easy to do any knitting, but they somehow pull it off. But again, Marco, thank you, and I will be sure to keep an eye out for weaver's nests for you. It really has turned out to be a beautiful day. This morning when we woke up at around 4:30, there was a blanket of low-lying mist, which is really beautiful, but you're never sure which way the day is going to go from there, whether it's going to be kind of cloudy and overcast and potentially rainy, or a beautiful blue sunny day. As we get deeper into the summer, we can experience and look forward to some of these beautiful misty mornings where similar to that, just have a, and everything above and around that will be clear, but a beautiful and quite sight and most, but you can just imagine a leopard or any predator using the mist as cover, so it always excites me when we do have these misty summer mornings. Most of the time the mist burns off within a very short period of time and it turns into a beautiful day, but occasionally, like I said, it does sometimes mask the fact that it's going to be overcast and cloudy. A little bug just flew into my chest, nothing serious, but I can see it. Let me actually show you guys, it's very pretty. If I can get my hands on it. I think it's going to fly off quite quickly. Oh, there it goes. I hope you guys got a glimpse. It had almost 2 yellow hearts on each wing. I'd never seen one of those, but very pretty little insect. I'm sorry it was a fleeting glimpse, but I'm sure it's happy to be out of the footwell where it was stuck momentarily after crashing into us. So like I said earlier, don't forget to look in trees like this, the horizontal branches, for any snoozing leopards. It really is a good opportunity for you guys back home to spot something. Keep an eye out in those trees, especially the bigger trees with the horizontal branches, which in most cases in this area would be the marula tree. I think it's fair to say that that is the most comfortable tree in this area for leopards. And I could think of nothing better than being called up by Will or anyone in the control room to tell me that I've just driven past a leopard and I need to stop, reverse and go back. As embarrassing as it will be, I will be enthused and happy to have an leopard to look at. I'm very impressed with the road network and the condition that the roads are in this area of the reserve. It does require a lot of maintenance to keep roads in good condition like this, and it makes our job a lot easier being able to get from A to B effortlessly. And the good roads coupled with this very, very nice vehicle allows us to basically float through the reserve. This is my maiden voyage in Zanele and I'm loving every second of it. Usually the game viewers are a longer vehicle than what we're using for now, like Zanele and Jiga. And the longer vehicle certainly it does make it a little bit more difficult to maneuver through the bushes, to turn around, whereas this, because it's shorter, really does make a difference in ease of maneuverability, which going forward will only allow us to get us into better positions and follow animals through more difficult terrain and scenarios. Copy that. Copy that, thank you. it's always so exciting when you find yourself in a new property and you're driving around a little bit lost, but always excited and interested by the changes in terrain and what might be around the next corner. It's not something that lasts forever, that feeling of not knowing where you are, and as useful as it is to know where you are, for obvious reasons, the benefits I'm feeling now and the excitement of finding my way around and seeing Buffels Hook Dam for the first time is really quite special. So I thank you guys for bearing with me and understanding, but it's also important for you to enjoy the fact that there's even extra unknown thrown in with a newcomer to the area, being myself. So miraculously we have found ourselves back in the vicinity of Peter and Scott, the two new additions to the wildebeest population of Djuma. So we will just try and get there. We've got a few more minutes, just to have a quick look at how they're doing, and again it'll be interesting to see how their strength and coordination has increased or progressed over the last hour or so that we've been away from them. What an incredible morning. It was a first for me in many different regards, but the fact that I saw my first wildebeest being born today, and I'm sure it was a first for a lot of you as well, is something really special. So I hope we all cherish this memory. I have seen some wildebeest. I'm not sure if it's the exact same herd, but we are in the vicinity of where we left the two new youngsters, so I'm fairly confident this is them. They're all relaxing in the shade, so difficult to tell at a glance whether we are in the right place, because the youngsters are difficult to see in the grass, but there certainly are some youngsters here, and I am getting more. Yeah, here we go. This is one of them. I'm not sure if it's Peter or Scott, but you can tell by the very wet and a dangly umbilical cord that these are our two new additions. It would be very interesting to know how much milk they actually obtain per day, or manage to suckle from their mothers. I wouldn't be able to hazard a guess, but I'll try and research that when I get home. I'm sure it's highly nutritious, so it's not going to be a huge quantity, but it would be interesting to know how much they need and get from their mothers on a daily basis. I'm not sure if you can hear, but if we listen very carefully, you might actually be able to hear the suckling noise. I can very faintly hear it. So folks, I think it's time to recap on this morning that we've had. I would firstly like to really thank you guys for all of the kind messages and welcomes. It really did make me ease into this this task and new challenge for me, being a presenter on a live drive, and I can't thank you enough for that. To the two wildebeest mothers, we also thank you. I'm sure Peter is just as happy as I am, even though he was part of the other two getting born last week. But yeah, very grateful to have been able to witness this. And this afternoon, Hayden and Peter will be back out. Hopefully Djuma will be back up and running again, and I will have the afternoon to carry on studying the map and getting to familiarize myself with some of the other aspects of this this beautiful area that we're in, the Sabi Sands. Okay. So yes, folks, thanks again. Thank you very, very much, and I could see you again shortly, or possibly tomorrow. Have a good day.